Hey, y'all, hey, listen. It is the month of October is almost over. However, I could not let the month conclude without talking about domestic abuse. Okay. It's taken me this long to think about how I want to talk about it or if I want to talk about it at all, because each time I do, it's like I'm reliving it. But I think it's important to share again because it may help someone. And I'm sharing it because for the longest time I felt like such a fool, okay? Because I was like, how did I wait to get to be the age of 50? You heard me, 50, to end up in an abusive relationship. And it's amazing how you can justify things to yourself and rationalize it instead of seeing it for what it was or what it is. And I met this person in October of 2016, and we started dating. And I shared with you that, I was overweight. And so, and by this time I'm in my late 40s, so I was 49 when I met him. And, I wasn't getting the attention like I used to getting. My daughter was growing on her own. And, there are some things that I had not worked through about my own self-confidence at this point in my life as being an empty nester. So things that I probably should have paid closer attention to, I didn't. I just didn't. And I've said this before, from the very first time we met each other at a park where we had our initial meeting. He did something right then and there that I should have said, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. But I ignored it. And I got into a relationship with this man, and there were signs that I justified. And one of the things I did, I remember, kind of like with Mr. Randolph, I know that I have a strong personality. A strong personality because I'm the oldest child. Born to a single mom. So, oldest child. I was in 2 branches of the military. I was a single mom. I had, gone up the career ladder in both the military as well as in the civil service. So, I had a pretty strong personality, and I justified, said, well, the man for me is going to need to be able to, to not let me run over him, because I know that I will. So when he would start to do these things or say these little things, I just justified it and said, okay, this guy is just not going to let me run over him. But it was more to it than that. So what I want to do right now is go over how to recognize warning signs of abuse. Okay. And so at the start of a new relationship, it's not always easy to tell if it will later become abusive. In fact, many abusive people appear like ideal partners in the early stages of the relationship. The warning signs of abuse don't always appear overnight and may emerge and intensify as a relationship grows. Yet, every relationship is certainly different, and domestic violence does not always look the same. However, one feature shared by most abusive relationships is that the abusive partner tries to establish or gain power and control through many different methods at different moments. And that is one of the things that happened with me. At the time I started dating this man, again, because I had been grown and on my own, and had a career since, a real career, making real money since 98. And I met him in 2016. So I did not know what it was like to, have moments of not having a job and this, that, and the other. So when this person said that he was having challenges, and, I assumed, because again, I hadn't been in the private sector and I didn't really know how it works. So I understand that, companies downsize and stuff like that. So, me wanting to be the supportive woman and not look down upon this person, but not digging deeper at that time, I sought not to judge or sought not to ask questions. I sought to help. And by doing so, one of the things I did, again, having an HR background, I would help him with his resume. I would help with job searches and stuff like that, again, to be supportive. And I have 2 degrees, and again, and had a pretty successful career, and he did not graduate from college. Well, that to me didn't make that much of a big deal for me either, because a piece of paper does not necessarily mean that you're intelligent. It means that you have matriculated and you've gone through college, okay? But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're intelligent, okay? Because there are many educated fools. So anyway, I didn't discount that. But little bit by little bit, he started to do things that were mean, condescending. But again, I'm chalking it up to him just being, not letting me run over him, because I know I could be a piece of work. I know I could be, set in my ways. Again, I've talked about the fact that when you are single and have been single for a long time and you don't have to really consider anybody else, sometimes it could be, a push and pull, okay? So I kind of overlooked it. But here's some things I want you to consider. It says common signs of abusive behavior in a partner include, it says additionally, even 1 or 2 of these behaviors in a relationship is a red flag that abuse may be present. Telling you that you never do anything right. Now, he wouldn't do that, but he would definitely criticize a lot of the things that I did, a lot of the things that I said, a lot of things that I wore. Showing extreme jealousy of your friends and time spent away from him. Well, I didn't look at it as that at the time. I thought, I'll just give you an example. We worked out together, and I would go to the spin class and he would go to the weights. So I would notice every now and again he would come and peek in the spin class, and I thought it was so cute that he was just, looking at me. I'm like, oh, he's really cute. He really likes me, but, he's really, looking out. That's my man, my man, my man, my man. Well, looking back on it retrospectively, he was trying to see who I was talking to. Because if I was talking to somebody in the class, he would come in the class and just kind of make his presence known. Yeah, okay. Preventing or discouraging you from spending time with others, particularly friends, family members, or peers. Well, I am a social butterfly. I was. And slowly but surely, he started to isolate me. And what I mean by that, he wouldn't say that he didn't want me to go, but when I got ready to go, he would say little things that made me uncomfortable with going. Or he would make these comments when I would come home, or, after the event or whatever. So, again, these are all looking retrospectively, but I'm sharing with you so you can think about it. Okay. Now, insulting, demeaning, or shaming you, especially in front of other people. This is key. Again, at the time, I had a pretty senior position with my agency, and I remember having to go up to my office one time. I was off work, but I went up to my office to do something. I think I was going to introduce him to some of the people I work with. So we went to my office, and then as we were going down the elevator, we're in the elevator by ourselves, and he's trying to get me to do something sexual in the elevator. I'm like, no. Because I'm like, because again, I know cameras, duh. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And so he tries to shame me. Oh, you just uppity. You just stuck up. Just talking down to me, trying to get me to do something to compromise myself that could have affected my career. Okay? And I remember when this was before the elevator incident. I remember we started dating officially in November, and he went to my Christmas party with the agency in December. And, he sat at the table with me and my boss, and I had several people I reported to. And, he seemed to be nice. Again, this is the very early stages. So I didn't clue in to some of the sarcastic and the bravado he was trying to perpetrate to make himself look good in front of my colleagues, which wasn't necessary. But I later realized, looking back on it, he was posturing because he really didn't feel adequate. So the best thing he did was try to make me feel inadequate. Okay, so here we go. Controlling finances in the household without discussion, such as taking your money or refusing to provide money for necessary expenses. Now, I've already shared with you that he had some career challenges, and by this time, yes, I know I was stupid. I let him move into my home. Yes, I was stupid. I was stupid. Okay. So again, like I said, it's, oh God, it makes me feel. But anyway, so during this time that, he was looking for work or whatever, and then he did have, when he got a job, he wouldn't contribute. Right. And when I would bring it to his attention, he would say, well, you make all this money and I'm just now starting to work. So he was just, oh my gosh, he was just so nasty. And, I remember I bought a car and he asked to take it to the store. And it was, hit in the parking lot. I don't know if somebody hit him or he hit somebody, but I hadn't even had the car a week. And also, it was one time he had driven my car, and our rock would hit the windshield and the crack or whatever. And I asked him, I said, are you going to contribute to fixing this? Why would I do that? You have insurance. Hooey. Okay. Pressuring you to have sex or perform sexual acts you're not comfortable with. He did. He did. He did. Intimidating you through threatening looks or action. Oh my gosh, let me tell you something. I've shared with you all, well, some of you knew, so you wouldn't know this. The first time that he cursed me out was in church. We're on the way to church, and he had never been to my church before, and I'm telling him how to get there, but also I'm letting him know that I get really nervous on the passenger side from a previous accident I had when there are certain moves if you go in and out of traffic really fast. So from the time we leave, we're on the freeway, he's just darting in and out of traffic, going really fast. I already told him that I'm really nervous, so by the time we get to the church, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because he just did not care. And I'm shaking like a cat because I'm just, nervous. He's darting in and out of traffic. I didn't share it with him about, how bad the accident was and how I still suffer. And this accident was in 2004, and I still had, PTSD from the accident. He didn't care. So I get out of the car, walk into the church, and he corners me in the church and says some things to me under his breath, what kind of a man he is, and he don't need me to do this, that, and the other. And do I understand? I'm like, yes, I do. Do you understand? I'm like, yes, I do. Now can we go in here without me having to deal with your fucking attitude in the church? Yep. That's just one example. And there was another example when we had Christmas at my home. And family was there, and I guess I said something or did something that he didn't like, and he wanted me to, he did like this to come into the room, and being that his son was in our room sleeping, well, my room sleeping, he took me in my closet and pinned me up against and pointed his finger in my face and just going off on me. I'd become a shell of myself. Ooh-wee. Insulting your parenting or threatening to harm or take away your children or pets. Listen, okay, this is too much. I might have to do this in a couple of series. I will never forget. This is March 2017 by this time. And I'm having my exam, not my performance appraisal with my supervisor, and he's going over it with me. And at some point in the conversation, he says to me that I'm shrinking. I thought he was complimenting me because I had been trying to lose weight. And he said, no, that's not what I mean. The person I knew and have known is shrinking. The person I met a couple of years ago who asked me to mentor her, she's shrinking. So that conversation led to me opening up a little bit more. And he said, I have to be honest with you, TJ, when I met him at the Christmas party, there was something about him that just didn't sit right with me. Because I couldn't put my finger on it. And he said, and I was just kind of talking to him. He said, I don't know. He said, but I would be very careful you having your dog around him. Now, at the time, I had a schnauzer, and we had him for, at this time, 12 years. And he knew what I felt about my Bradley. And when my boss said that to me, it took me so far back because I'm like, whoa, it's right in here. It's right in here. Intimidating you with weapons like guns, knives, and mace. Now, he did not intimidate me with weapons, but he did intimidate me in other ways. Destroying my belongings or my home. By the time I finally got him out of my house, the room that he was ultimately in, because he had basically sequestered himself in one of my guest rooms, it looked like an episode of Hoarders. And I was not able to get him out of my house before it ended with this. It's my knee, my arm. And this is how my knee is swollen up. My lip was busted, but I didn't get a picture of that. When everything had come to a head on July 16th, 2017, I couldn't believe that I had found myself there. After everything I witnessed growing up, seeing this kind of abuse, I couldn't believe that I waited until 50 to be there. And when I went to therapy, because it took me it was so traumatic for me, I ended up having to take off work for 2 months. And when I went through the therapy, I just felt so low because I'm like, I'm smarter than this. I'm smarter than this. And so one of the things that the counselors encouraged me is that women from all walks of life have fallen victim to this. And for me to forgive myself for ignoring the red flags, because I did. Partly maybe because I felt insecure that, are desperate, that I wanted to be with someone, that I just chose to look the other way and accept things that I never should have accepted. But I'm glad I made it out alive. And I'm grateful that my brother was there, because it could have ended something very differently. So if you believe that you are in a situation like that, please reach out to someone. Please reach out to someone. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Take that with you.